Chapter 2. The doctor watched as sailors unlashed a helicopter from the deck of the tanker. He was worried. He had been concerned before he had come out here. Pelham's discovery of a new superfuel had been all over the newspapers, but it all seemed too good to be true. When he had heard that there was to be a publicity launch, he had pulled some strings at UNIT, the Unified Intelligence Task Force, to get out here. Now, with an attack on the refinery and a mystery animal on the loose, he was convinced that his hunch was correct. Something was very wrong. Pelham's assistant, Matt, waved him over. "If you're coming, you'd better hurry up. There's a storm blowing in. We need to leave before it hits." As the doctor started to cross the deck towards the waiting helicopter, a voice called out from behind him. "Doctor, hang on a moment." The doctor turned to see a young woman hurrying towards him, a black briefcase in her arms. He frowned. She was one of the other journalists, wasn't she? "You're so forgetful," said the woman breathlessly. "You left your case." The girl turned to Matt, hand outstretched. "Lizzie Davies, doctor's assistant. I'll be coming out too." Matt ignored the offered hand and bustled the two of them towards the helicopter. "Yes, fine, just hurry. Mr. Pelham wants to get to the refinery as quickly as possible." The doctor clambered into the aircraft. Pelham was in the pilot's seat. It seemed that there was no end to the man's talents. As the doctor strapped himself into the seat next to Lizzie, he turned and raised an eyebrow at her. "You're my assistant?" Lizzie gave him a sly smile. "For the moment, yes." Her face fell. "Unless you're going to give me away." "Not at all." The doctor beamed at her. "I like you, Lizzie Davies. Clever, cheeky, just what I need on an adventure like this. I just hope you know what you're letting yourself in for." Lizzie tapped the case. "With luck, some good photos for a quality tabloid newspaper," she whispered. The doctor grinned at her as the helicopter gave a throaty roar and lurched into the air. The helicopter swept across the cold grey water of the Antarctic Ocean. The bulky shape of the cargo ship they had left was far behind them in moments. Matt kept up a constant sales pitch. "Of course, Mr. Pelham is also ensuring a specifically built fleet of Pelcor cargo ships will be on standby to deliver the fire ice across the planet. At present, the refinery is still at an early stage, but as time goes on, we aim to expand it." The doctor stared out of the helicopter window as the refinery slowly came into view on the distant ice. It seemed to be nothing but a collection of metal shacks dumped down on the ice. A fenced area enclosed hundreds of barrels of fire ice, waiting to be shipped to the coast on snow tractors. In the distance, a tall tower, the drilling rig, jutted up into a darkening sky. "Doesn't look like much to me," muttered Lizzie. "Well, a lot of the labs and workrooms are under the ice," explained Matt. "The fuel itself is being mined from an underground lake." "Yes," murmured the doctor, "it's being mined from an underground lake that has been untouched for millions of years." Matt bristled in anger. "I can tell you that every care has been taken to ensure that we have as little impact on the environment as possible." The doctor stared at him. "But what steps have you taken to ensure that it has no impact on you?" The helicopter landed heavily on the ice. Pelham and his passengers were bustled into the refinery. Pelham was quickly surrounded by dozens of assistants, all of them talking at once. For a moment it was uproar. Then Pelham slammed his hand against the wall. "Quiet!" he shouted. Instantly there was silence. The doctor had to admit that he was impressed. Pelham glared at his staff. "I am going to my office. I want a full report on my desk within 10 minutes. Everything else can wait. The most important thing right now is to see whether we have lost any of the fuel barrels." The doctor's respect for the man quickly faded. "Excuse me," he butted in. "I think that the most important thing is, in fact, seeing to the crewman who's been injured. Don't you agree?" For a moment, Pelham looked as though he was going to explode. Then he took a deep breath and nodded. "You are quite right, Doctor. My assistant will show you to the sickbay at once." With that, Pelham turned and vanished down the corridor. His assistants followed him meekly. Matt turned to the doctor, amazed. "I've never seen him admit that he's wrong before." The doctor smiled grimly. "Let's just hope it's the only thing he's wrong about, shall we? Now, where's the sick bay?" Lizzie was surprised by how small and basic the medical facility was. There were just 2 beds, surrounded by compact equipment and a small office in one corner. It looked as though the sick bay had been set up to deal with nothing more than minor injuries. The wounds of the injured man, Bob Clamp, looked far from minor. It looked like some wild beast had clawed him. Lizzie felt sick. The doctor's help was gratefully received. The base medic, Beryl, had been able to treat the man's physical injuries fairly easily, but something else was worrying her. Bob seemed to have a fever. He shifted restlessly in the bed, sweat soaking the sheets and pillows. He kept muttering under his breath. The doctor leaned close to hear what he had to say. "He's been like this since he came around," said Beryl. "Just keeps saying the same thing over and over." "What is he saying?" asked Lizzie. "Nothing that makes sense." Beryl shook her head. "The shock must have affected him." "Oh, he's making perfect sense." The doctor's eyes shone with excitement. "He's telling us what attacked him. He says that it was a dinosaur."